Right, and yeah, it's fascinating. And the economics of how grain has worked too over the last just 30 to 50 years. Lots of fluctuations.
How long have you guys been in this field specifically with cabbage?
0.6 of an acre that we plowed last winter.
Yep.
And got ready throughout the spring to receive cabbage successions. So we're into like planting number 6 now. I think we had 7 plantings
On this field?
on this field. So you can see the stake out here somewhere. We're gonna hit that low stake. That's the last planting we did in late July.
And then next year, will you plant here again in the same place?
No, we rotate through because brassicas have soil diseases they travel with.
Oh, really?
And we've run into club root on a crop before, specifically with cabbage, and it just yields you nothing.
Yeah.
Like you think you're getting cabbage, and then by August, the plant can't produce anything. It's just like this small little bulb that is all leaf on top. We do have a sweet spot, and it's somewhere in the 100 to 115 barrel range, for this size farm and what we need to support ourselves. That's kind of where we found right now we can hang at.
And you think that's homeostatic for the foreseeable future, like at that level, or is the hope to expand?
Well, that's why. Yeah. Can I make more? How do I expand it? I don't know. I don't know the answer yet.
Is it necessary?
Is it necessary? Do I like it? That scalability is super important in local food, I think, and misunderstood really in how capitalism works within agriculture.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's also like truly local food at that point when you think only about what you need, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you start to think about all the other systems that need to be put in place, I think a lot of people think that scaling up instantly makes the business more successful, but it also comes with many more intangible difficulties that are probably more taxing on the system than just staying, a little bit more modest in what you consume and what you utilize it in your daily life. No?
Exactly. And we all have to be part of it, and there's more and more of us that need to be part of it too. So it's a human factor.
Yeah.
Like people need jobs, people need livelihood, people need to be plugged in. Let them have that scale too. The small scale.
In search of answers to the questions that have occupied my mind as I've evolved inside the mechanized system that produces food for human consumption, I've found myself drawn to the wisdom of those who operate on the fringe, focused on creating holistic futures not just for themselves and their families, but their community as a whole. The Flack Family Farm has spent over a quarter century listening to the cues of nature, converting healthy soil into fermented foods using ancestral techniques rather than technological advancements. Unlike the story unfolding in so many small corners of the globe for subsistence farmers, the one that unfolded over our time working side by side with Zach Brandau, his family, and their crew was one of hope and inspiration. A look at what the future may hold if the next generation chooses to use symbiosis as their guide.
We're purposely going for that mild kimchi. So the red peppers are for color and flair and that balance of flavor. We don't want it to be too spicy. Doug Flack, he doesn't like spicy, so this is his recipe. We make it how he makes it. I don't have to know that much. The simplicity and the tradition of it has already been found out by my ancestors, our ancestors. And the microbes do the major part of that work. We just have to move them through. So by just putting the salt in, I'm pretty much guaranteeing that the pH goes in the right direction and the lactobacilli proliferate. I need this crew to make 5 barrels a day. In that sense, I'm a businessman and a chef. I have to meet these goals. If I don't, I have to temper myself against those expectations and realize, hey, it's okay to slow down. It's okay to just go at the farm pace and whatever happens pace. I can make 3 barrels, and maybe I didn't get the ginger this week, and I'll just make do with what I got, and I'll make some sauerkraut instead. You know, I can make those adjustments and do that for the farm and for our business. But my tendency, when I lean into the businessman side of things, is to I need those carrots. I need to order 300 pounds of carrots right now because they got to get here next week, and I got to. You know, you see how that commodity market creeps into my life?
It's a slippery slope to walk on also. You know what I mean? It's all about how you set yourself up and what your expectation is, and also who do you need to provide for. You know, that's the other thing, is like who you need to provide for and how much.
Right.
You know, childcare, school.
Yeah, and as we build our culture and create our culture here in the now, we do have to temper ourselves again with that all in mind.
Oh, for sure.
We have to want some of it, but we also have to be okay with letting it go when the modern conveniences fall away and don't come. We have to be, that's okay.
Yeah.
We can still live this life.
Is there something that speaks to you specifically about this land?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I formed community here when I was farming here as a farmhand and learning.
Yeah.
And so I did travel around and look for places. Like, that's part of the reason I went to Mexico, and that's part of the reason I got in a van and traveled out west, was looking for other opportunities and like-minded people to live in an agricultural community. But it never really clicked. And when we came back here, it just kept clicking every time we would visit. And so we moved back to Vermont for family reasons and other reasons, and then when we reconnected here, there was opportunity at that time to come back to vegetable farming, and now, of course, eventually take over the farm.
And are the crops that you grow, like the cabbage and were those products an adaptation to the soil, or is that something that you guys thought, or that Doug, however many years ago, thought would function well here based on his knowledge, or was it just something that he adapted to work well here?
I think a little bit of both. I don't think that. New England in general is a great vegetable growing region. So even if we don't have great soils or a great place to drive a tractor around in long straight rows, the climate and the way the whole cycle here works in New England is very supportive of vegetable farming. And I grew up growing things, flowers and vegetables, in central Vermont. So I had that basic knowledge anyway of how to grow food, and with my chef approach to farming helped me systematize it and get it down so I could time it just right, so I could seed and cultivate and harvest and fit it all in an annual cycle in a tidy way.
Yeah.
I do kind of like that aspect of vegetable farming. That really clicks for me. Is like, okay, what am I going to do today? What does my focus need to be? I need to triage that and actually turn my focus over here because this is more important over here. We've been working slowly to how to have more food put away, not just the specialty items we make as a farm, but all the food that we want to eat.
Yeah.
Like I'm hoping I can grow buckwheat and maybe even quinoa here on these soils that I harvest and thresh out myself for my own 50-pound bag. Is that going to be enough for us to eat as a family in our household?
Yeah.
How could I do that? Can I bring that scale to this farm? Is that important to me? Is that important to our culture? Is that important? Is that what I'm talking about when I'm talking about local food? Those are questions we ask ourselves at the lunch table all the time. Farmers make their big money in season.
Rebuilding a food shed does involve a community who can focus on the economy being symbiotic, being able to exist on its own, homeostatic in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Can you see a future where, if things turned, you would be able to subside in this community year-round?
I do, yeah. I think that right here in northern Vermont, we've got it. I came to the lunch table 20 years ago and started hearing about another farm's gone out. Doug's friends, down the road, another farm's gone out. And I think that's a hard part of the conversation about culture and humanity. We have to wonder, are we always going to choose that better tasting food that just has sugar in it and so many other sauces and things that it's easy because I can buy it at the grocery store or from the buffet. It's all hot and somebody else made it, and, and I like it.
Yeah. And this, at least for me, goes back to this idea of like the community playing a major role in the vitality of the soil and the vitality of the landscape, right?
Yeah, extractive economies and that, you know, versus that holistic economy and that holistic soil, that holistic farm picture. The farm is an organism, and we're using and taking these cabbages away from this field, but we're going to bring the cows back, and they're going to munch on all these leaves and chop these beds up and break down some of this raised bed system I've got. So when I bring the tractor out, I have a little less work to do with the tractor, and the cows benefit from that. And so that's a way of describing that cycle of the connectivity for the vegetables, the cattle, me, the land, the animals. All that stuff is working in symbiosis, and we might think of us as a closed then entity, as called the farm, alive and pulsating and doing its thing. But we're also connected to the greater world, and that's complicated. So how we live within a culture around us that doesn't value that relationship is tough on that community. Yeah. Right? That community that's trying to do something different and be autonomous within a destructive force like a global capitalist marketplace.
As I ruminate the conversations that have driven me to seek change and challenge theory, I often wonder what led us down the path of operating with self-first mentality rather than viewing the world through the lens of folks like Zach Brandau, creating inclusivity in the minutiae of daily life, slowing down and taking into account each choice we make and its impact on the greater good, not just for self, but for all living beings and all things that feed life. I am, as many are, met with much turmoil about what the future will hold if we continue to walk down this treacherous path driven by the ideal of personal prosperity with the goal of capturing things rather than moments. But the passing of the torch to this next generation at the Flack Family Farm, who continue to disseminate the message of hope through autonomy and mutual aid, has added yet another glimmer of hope that although the journey may be long, those who travel under the black flag may be able to redraw the map to homeostasis.